Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. You won't believe the story that I'm going to be sharing with you. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. So this brother of ours, he was still alive. He is still alive. I read his confession a very long time ago. The message that he sent to me for his part 2 of the story, it reads like this. Hi, post for me is Anonymous Nashi. It has been almost 3 years now since I first told my story on this channel. Back then, if you remember me, I was a man that was losing everything. I was losing my grip on my house, my mansion, and the fleet of trucks. I was losing everything. Today, I am writing still from that place that is filled with darkness. I did not think that this darkness, it existed for some people after you'd have made so much money. I thought that all that mattered in life was you making money. And they say that money can solve any problem. That one is a lie from the devil. There are problems that money can solve, and there are problems that even if you offer a sangoma R1,000,000, that sangoma will refuse to help you because of the heavy burden that you'll be carrying and the demons and the darkness that will be following you. Brother, I am back. People often ask this question. They always ask. I see them on social media asking, why is it that these people who went to do Ubutwala from Mozambique, from South Africa, Nigeria, wherever, why is it those people who get spiritual backup and do money rituals don't just return those things that you would have gotten when you will be doing these covenants for Ubutwala? When things get bad, you can think that you can just return things to the devil after you would have dealt with the devil. They think it's like returning a faulty fridge that you would have bought from a shop. No, I am here to tell you that in the spiritual world, once you do Butwala, unless by the grace of God, and these days it seems as if grace is very hard to find. There is no grace that is left in the world. There is no grace. If there was grace with the way that I have knelt down even in the rain, praying to God so that He can forgive me for all of my problems that I am facing, but God has not yet responded to me. Maybe there are some who have been delivered, but as for me, I have not yet been delivered. All that I am being told, and what I want to tell everyone here, there are no refund in the spiritual realm. You can't do another deal with the devil. The devil deals with you only once, and then he would always tell you that you owe him. I am owing interest to a dead man, a dead sangoma from Zimbabwe. So I nearly reached a breaking point about a year ago. That was when I reached my breaking point. My wife had already left with the kids. My trucks, just scrap metal. All of these things that I once had, they don't even mean anything. I had a truck that burnt down. It was carrying some cargo from Cape Town, and I called the insurance company. Those guys, they even turned their backs on me. Just like what I was told, that the wealth that I have today, it is not real wealth. It is the wealth that was given to me by the devil. By then, I was living in a small flat in Sunnyside, just watching my pride withering away. I decided that the only way to save my life was to take that Changani bag. If you still remember the Changani bag that I went and I got from Zimbabwe in a village in Chipinge. Since I had this Changani bag, it always stuck with me at all the times. I said, let me take it back to Chipinge. I believed that if I could find the old man who had put me in that boiling drum, if you still remember my story, I was put in a boiling drum. That is the way that they had strengthened me in business back then. So I thought that only a reversal of that covenant that I had done, then everything was okay. I wanted to tell that old man that had strengthened me that I was done. I wanted to tell him to take his snake, to take his short boys and to leave me in peace so that I can enjoy my life, even if it meant that I was going to be a poor man for the rest of my life. By then, I was done. I did not want anything to do anymore with these Tokoloshes from Zimbabwe. So, what did I do? I took my very last savings, my money that I wanted to use for rent. There was this other guy that I knew very well. He was from Zimbabwe. He had been staying at one of my friends' RDP. So, this man, he was those Malaicha guys, and I told him that I wanted to go to his country. I did not tell him that I had a Tokoloshe that had been haunting me, and this was the reason as to why I wanted to visit his country. I did not tell him that in the Changani bag that I was going to be carrying, and with me on my lap at all the times, it was a Tokoloshe that was hiding inside. This man then said to me, "Okay, I can take you back to Zimbabwe," because I lied to him that I have relatives that are from Zimbabwe. Our grandfather, he was from Zimbabwe. He came to South Africa, worked in the mines in the 1980s, and then he returned back after he had met our grandmother who gave birth to my father. So this man, he thought that I was like a Zimbabwean brother to him. He then told me that he was unable to go with me to Jipinge because his village, where he got most of his customers, they all ended in Masvingo. So after he had gotten his customers, I was helping him to load everything on the trailer, and off we went, leaving South Africa. We then went to Zimbabwe. When we arrived at the Musina border post, I felt like crying because I was like the only South African man that was leaving his country going to South Africa, for the reason why even one immigration officer asked me if I was going to visit a wife there in Zimbabwe. He was just laughing at me, and I just told him that I have a relative in Zimbabwe. And he said, "Oh, you have a relative there." And this felt like it was a judgment from God when this man was talking with me. I don't know if you have ever been in such a situation whereby someone keeps on talking to you, wanting to know more personal information about you. And I had my heart feeling so heavy because I felt like this man, he was judging me. And then we reached Masvingo. We stayed in his village for a couple of days because I was waiting for a man whom he said he could take me to Jipinge. In Zimbabwe and South Africa, things are totally different. When you are in Zimbabwe, the taxis that they have, they are different from the taxis that you know in South Africa. They use these small cars, like they use them for taxis, but they can load you in a smaller Nyana car, even a Polo. It can fit more than 10 people in that little car. We drove for many hours from Masvingo. I don't know how many times I had a cramp, but there was nothing that I could do because there was this woman that was sitting on my lap, and then on the other lap, there was this other child that was also sitting on my lap. When God has decided to laugh at you, He puts you in those situations. Here I was cramped in a little Toyota with more than 10 people. The driver was overspeeding. It even reached a point whereby if he wanted to pull up after you would have stopped, you would tell one of the passenger that was sitting in front to shift the gear for him. This he would do after we would have stopped when he wants to start driving again, because there was no even space for him. There was one lady that was sitting at that place where the gearbox is. She had her leg on the other side where the driver was sitting, and the other leg where the passenger is supposed to be sitting. She was the one that was doing the shifting for us. We were overcrowded. I even thought to myself, this young boy, the way that he is speeding, if it happens that he causes an accident, we are all going to die. Here I was, a man that used to have trucks, now stuck in this little car, and it was a lot of us in that little car. We finally arrived in Chipinge, but the place where I was supposed to go to, it was so far. Even the driver, he laughed at me and he told me that he wanted money that was equivalent to 2,000 rands so that he can at least take me a couple of kilometers close to that village. But he said, "Oh, that village, Mudara, it is very far. You are not going to get someone with a car that will take you to that village because it is high up there in the mountains." He was pointing at this other mountain that was very far. Then I had to sleep in that village because it was about to get dark. I recognized a couple of things. The landscape, it was still the same. I had recognized a few mountains and a few villages from the time that I had first came to Zimbabwe. We spent hours in that village. I was able to find a family. They accepted me. They even made food for me, even though they were really poor. By the way that they were so friendly, they nearly made me to cry. I wanted to tell them the truth about why I was in their country, but I just slept. Early in the morning, the woman then woke me up. They told me that since it was time for them to go to the field, I was supposed to go with them. I had to do this until it was somewhere around 10. Then we returned back. They told me that if I was too tired, I could just sleep at their house. And I said, no, these people tomorrow, they would also tell me to accompany them to their own field so that I can work with them. They said, it's fine, let me walk. I started walking. I walked, I don't know for how many hours. I felt that my legs, they were even hurting me. And whenever I would ask anyone about the name of that sangoma, they would shake their heads. Some, they would even laugh. And if I told them that I was from South Africa, they told me that it was now almost like in fashion, South Africans coming to their village, coming to collect Tokoloshes. One woman even laughed and said, those little Tokoloshes, they are going to rape all of your children. You are going to see. As I was walking, it was about to get dark, and I was afraid that if it gets dark, where am I going to sleep? Because I was in a forest. As I was passing this other river, it was a dry riverbed. I saw a woman there. She was an old woman. I spoke with her. I told her the truth. I described the rituals, the name of the sangoma, and everything. She looked at me. She kept on looking at my Shangani bag, and she asked me what was inside. I then told that woman that inside the Changani bag, there were some items that I used to use for the rituals. She looked at me. Her eyes were filled with sorrow for me, and she said that she was sorry for what I was going through, but I was not the first one to come to that village. There were other people that had passed through her compound, some that she had also given a place to sleep. Some were even running mad. They had also gotten some tokoloshes from that same traditional healer. I said, I understand, Ma, but can you help me? Because I am lost. When I came here, I really did not get to know this place that much. I was just looking for wealth. She then whispered to me and she said, the man that you are looking for, he died a very long time ago. He died. What do you mean he died? So I had traveled all this way from my country, coming to Zim, so that I can be told that my sangoma had passed away. That was 2 years before my son had passed away. It meant that this sangoma that I had been serving, I was serving a sangoma who was already in the grave. I was no longer dealing with a living witch doctor, but I am now tied to a restless spirit, and this restless spirit has no intention of letting me go. The old woman accompanied me, and then he pointed at this other mountain and he said, beyond that mountain, there is the compound. Then I remembered and I said, oh, that is the mountain, because I knew it very well. I walked for about an hour. When it was dark, that was when I reached, it was the end of that same village. When I looked around, I saw that at that compound where there used to be a lot of people that would come to be healed by that sangoma, there was no one, not a living soul. I then walked and I met another man who took me to a village head. I explained my situation, and then they told me that they were going to show me the grave of that Sangoma the next day. The people there from around Mutare, they bury their people in the mountains or in places where the person that is buried will be hidden. They took me into the mountain among a thick trees. It was so scary. And then we opened up some bushes and they showed me the grave and they said that this is where the Sangoma is buried. They tried to speak with him, but the other Sangoma that was there said that the old man was quiet. He was not saying anything. I knelt at the edge of that grave. I cried in my own language. I even tried to open the Changani bag so that I can show him that I wanted to be free. And then I returned back. I did not even know why I was returning back. I came back to South Africa. When I came back to South Africa, I tried by all means to go to other different traditional healers. One thing is that I left that Shangani bag on top of that grave. When I came back, you won't even believe what happened. The bank came, took everything. I watched them tow away the cars that the short boys had helped me to buy. I watched the sheriff of the court locking the gates of my house where I used to host massive parties. I am now completely broke. I live in a shack. I live in a back room at one of my friend's house. I stay here in Pretoria West. It is a shack, Brother Nashi. No ceiling, no window, nothing. My bed, it is just a thin sponge mattress. I survive now by doing piece jobs, carrying bricks at my age, cleaning yards. And these yards that I clean, those people, they are not even rich like the way that I used to be rich. As for now, even if I try to dump this Changani bag, it always comes back to me. I once had it thrown in a dam there in Venda. They say that if we go to Nandoni, if we dump it there, then the marine spirits will destroy it. But no, when I returned back to Pretoria, that bag, it was here. I have been scammed by many traditional healers from Malawi as well as some prophets from Zim, some that are staying here in Pretoria that I can't mention their names. They have claimed that they can destroy this bag. Some of them, they can even come and they can burn it. But these short boys, they come back to me. These short boys, when they come, they are angry. Sometimes they beat me. They speak in a language that is half Zulu and the other part I don't understand. They tell me that a house must have a wife. Since my wife left me, they say that they need a new woman. They want me to have a new wife. There is a woman that I am dating, but I am scared of taking that woman and bringing her into my life. This is the update to my confession. If I find anyone that will help me, I'll come back and tell you. Maybe I am going to die, but I'm just wanting to give you a warning that you should never take a shortcut in life. You will never have money that will last forever with a shortcut. Please post my story. Your dear listeners, right there was an update of that confession that I once read many years ago. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. I did not know that our brother was still alive. Let us try to speak with him in the comment section. He's saying that ever since that story, he looked for help from other people, but those people, they scammed him. Others, they just came and then they burned the Changani bag. And he's saying that he went to this dam. He said, Nandoni, do you know it? If you know it, tell us in the comment section. That bag, it came back to him and he saw it in Pretoria. Let us speak with him in the comment section.